Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here, and we have a re-review, kind of, sort of. We'll get into that. Foam Brewing. It's their Pavement. I think this is the first beer I ever had from Foam. I actually visited the brewery in 2018, almost to the month. Like it was like what 2018 is, what, 5 years ago, and a month ago. I was actually up there for my honeymoon with my wife, and when I was there, I had this on draft. Think I had it previous to going up there, but the next day I was leaving, I stopped by and actually got some cans and picked this up, brought it back for my trip up there, and I actually reviewed it, but I never posted it. I have no idea why. Basically, what I did was I bought this, and I'm like, man, Pavement, I should re-review that because I'm in this whole kind of re-reviewing things, and I look in my videos online, and it's there, but it's a draft, and it was just never posted. I don't know why. So we're going to re-review it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that review from 5 years ago, and I'm going to tack it on the end of this one. So if you want to watch me from 5 years ago review this beer, you're more than welcome. So what are we dealing with here? Foam. It's their Pavement. This is kind of like, I believe they're kind of I don't know if it's their flagship beer, but it's very close to that, if so. It's a double India Pale Ale coming at 8.2% alcohol by volume. Burlington, Vermont. 1 pint. That's pretty much it. All their beers and labels and all that all have to do with music. I couldn't tell you what Pavement comes from. And I still do dig their can design with this kind of cutout label to where the label kind of contours around this mosaic glass. I really do think it's pretty fucking slick, even years and years later, because I don't think it's changed much at all. This beer is coming in at 13 days old, and I got it off a shelf in New Jersey. Yeah, this is a beer that actually is a shelfie now down here, and it basically says 6/1/23, and it says IKEA. I don't know why. So let's dive into this sucker, see what we got going on. So 8.2% double IPA. I did watch my old review. I used to be very kind of anti. I'm not going to watch it. I want to influence myself. I'm beyond that. I can think for myself based off of my old words from my old self. So yeah, we're digging on the can design, and first things first, much better head on this. The other one dissipated really quickly. I actually went as far as to use the same exact glass I did last time. I should have put my old Loyalty Barbershop shirt on for this. But it has this kind of softer, washed out kind of look to it compared to what I remember it or what that video showed. And it definitely has a nice kind of creamier, fluffier, soapier kind of head that's kind of sticking around. The other one dissipated really quick. Let's see if we get a nose. I'll tell you what, though. I think my nose is spot on from the previous one. It's very much melon leaning for me. Under-ripened kind of melon. Tropical fruit melon under-ripened. Sure, there's bits of citrus in there. Definitely a bit of kind of pineapple, grapefruit kind of citrus in there. But it very much is kind of a melon leaning for me. There's a soft little green, little fluttering hoppiness to it. This precursor to this little bit of green, weedy, maybe even grassy kind of dankiness. But it has all the parts of what I'd expect from like an new school, no, it'd be an old school, no, it'd be how are we going to say this? So if the Alchemist is old school, new school, this would be new school, old school, new school, right? Is that how it works? Is, they've been around for quite some time, but not as much as the newbie guys, so they're somewhere in between there. Think about like Alchemist is here and your Equilibriums are here. They're kind of somewhere in the middle. That kind of thing, where they have a bit of time under their belt. So it smells of that elk, to where it's going to be that dropped out all bitterness, but still a little bit of grassiness kind of going on. So New England all the way. And all that melon leaning. Yeah, we're just going to dive in. Cheers, y'all. Wow. That's crazy melon. Like crazy melon. It's by far and away the most melon I've gotten in a beer in my life, especially with an IPA. It is like honeydew, out the wazoo. There's a little bit of this carbonic acid thing that I was really, really curious about, because I haven't had a bunch of foam beers in several years, just because I don't travel up that way. I'm not kind of in the kind of trading circuit or anything like that anymore. But I remember foam beers being not my favorite in a can. On draft, they are always absolutely stellar, but on cans, they always lean very, very heavily carbonic acid. There is some of that here, but much, much less than I originally would get from their beers. So melon out of the wazoo. You get those little fluttering of citrus again, very much pineapple, grapefruit leaning. This nice kind of just stopping short of being grassy kind of graininess. I really do like it. Almost has a little bit of a drying finish to it, which kind of gets me really, really excited, especially since we're dipping into that 8% plus range here. You know, typically when you get into these higher ABV double IPAs, they tend to be a bit more sweeter, even getting to the point of being cloying. This one's not really getting there at all. And there is a bitterness here. You know, that greenness is there, but there's a bittering on the other side of that acts as like a little bit of the counterbalance. Now, the only thing I'd probably get, if I'm going to get really nitpicky, besides that little bit of elevated carbonic acid, which I think isn't hyper aggressive, but it's definitely there, is mouthfeel on this. Mouthfeel on this is very, very low. I wouldn't call it thin, but when you're talking about New England style IPA, double IPA, 8.2%, super fruit leaning, a nice green grassiness, you kind of want the mouthfeel here to be a bit more, if not satiny, lushy, something along those lines. It doesn't have to be super turbid, but you want it to be a little bit more full, and you're getting a bit more thinness here than you come to expect. Take that, let's compartmentalize it, throw it off to the side. It's a really, really fun beer. It reminds me of that time. It reminds me of IPA 2015, 16, 17, 18. It does remind me of that time of beer in the sense that it's the hopping is not so, what's the word I'm looking for here? Copycat is not the word, but it's probably the best thing I can think of right now. It's like so many beers try to be the same exact beer. Like subtle variants on the same exact beer. I've talked about this analogy before where it's, you know, a lot of hazy IPA today is the same car with different options. You know, very similar from brewery to brewery. It's just that this one happens to have a sunroof. This one happens to have 20-inch wheels. You know, that kind of thing. This is very much its own distinct vehicle. And it comes off as very much different than what everybody else does. In a way, the melon kind of comes off. In a way, the beer kind of drinks. And even though it is a little bit thin, it could be a calling card. Those kind of things, it doesn't kind of try to fit itself into this box that it has to be a specific certain way. And that's kind of how Hazies were back in the day. There was very much kind of a little bit of a Wild West, everybody trying to figure out their own niche to kind of be their calling card, to be their kind of fingerprint, their stamp on the style. Whereas now it's the opposite. Everybody's trying to be like, how do we get everything to taste like this particular exact way? Kind of boring, kind of not my jam. But this is my jam. I actually like this based off of watching my previous review and just visceral reaction. I actually like this better than the other one. I think the other one had a lack of carbonation to it that really kind of just added a little bit less to it, especially with the body on here. If the mouthfeel on here has been the same over the past, 5 years or so, 6 years, Jesus Christ, 2023, well, 5 years, 2018. Math is hard. It would really come on very thin without the carbonation that this one has. I like that. Big, huge green melony component. That nice kind of green hoppiness with a bit of bittering. That carbonic, like I said, acid portion of the show is there, but not nearly as big as what I remember from foam brewing. It ends up being a really, really fun beer. I'm glad I picked it up. A little bit pricier than when I picked it up at the brewery back in the day. Not too much. I think it was maybe $2 more per 6, so I'm not going to sit here and complain all that much. $18 for 6 or 4-pack in Jersey of foam this time of life, I guess, isn't too shabby. Yeah, let's talk about it. It's one of the better double IPAs I've had. I was like, yes, Mount Rushmore status on the outside looking in, but at the same time, very fun beer. That melon thing really does kind of make me super happy and kind of kicks it up a notch. Value to availability, we already talked about. Get it off the shelf. Relatively decent price point for a boutique beer, and leave you with, if you like what, will you like this? If you like IPA, if you like hazy IPA, you're not kind of beholden to a super crazy mouthfeel. And you like new school, old school, new school, old school, new school, new school, old school, new school. If you like hobby beer and you like it to be fun, you'll like this. There you go. Foam. Have you had their stuff? Have you been to the brewery? Have you had Pavement? Have you had it back in the day? Have you had it recently? Have you had this batch? from 6/1/23. All that fun stuff. Let's talk about it there. There you go. Reviewing the book. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of foam right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all. How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews. Back with yet another review. Foam time. Hopefully delicious foam time in the form of their Pavement. DDH, double dry hopped, this, that, and the other thing. Double Indian Pale Ale. Actually, it doesn't say double dry hop on here, but I'm assuming it is. It's one of those bigger, kind of hazy, New England style beers from picked up, actually, from Foam themselves. I actually went to Vermont. You're probably like, no shit, Sherlock. You said it 1,000 times in reviews, but I'm going to keep saying it, especially if I'm going to drink a beer from when I was up there. And I went there the night I arrived. I was there for 2 nights. The next day, I was trying to kind of finagle in and do an interview with the owners there at Foam. Super nice people, and just couldn't connect. It was super busy, and they were doing can releases and packaging and all that stuff, and went by and ended up just picking up a 4-pack of their beers. Brought a couple back, shared with some friends, but I actually haven't had this out of the can yet, so I'm excited to give it a whirl. What does it say? Foam Brewers. It is Pavement. I believe this is a homage or testament or something to do with music. I don't remember what it is. I'm sorry. Again, Double India Pale Ale, 8.2% alcohol by volume. Burlington, Vermont. Keep cold, drink fresh. Time kills art. 1 pint pure beer. I forget. I saw, like, right when I was driving home, my friend of mine, Justin, who's good dude, shared a bunch of beers with him. We kind of shared beers back and forth. They were talking about in a local beer group about the great connection between beers and bands, and this is the one he brought up, and I forget what the band he was talking about was. On the bottom here we have S. Malkmus, don't know what that means, 5/19 or 5/17/2018. This is the 2nd of June. So 2 weeks. What do you want? Let's crack it open. Label-wise, it's awesome. It's keys. It's a big kind of stained glass. Looks like a tulipy glass kind of thing, and then a bunch of piano keys. So there you go. Man, I don't know what band it is. I just can't remember. It's hard to remember stuff every now and then. Today's been brutal. My brain is 6 ways sideways with mush. I bought a car today, and it was a tour de force of running around trying to find shit, so my brain is fucking rattled. Creepily head dissipating insanely fast on that one. I mean, it had a little bit of creaminess going on, but it dissipated super quick, so don't know if that's a good thing. Left behind not much else. Just a soft haziness, a soft rich haziness, but yeah, man, that head dissipating quickly kind of gets me a little bit kind of scared. Charles Barkley style scared. It's scared. It looks more kind of something's going on. Like it has something in it that's killing the head, whether it be coconut or something like that. But this is just a big double IPA, so let's find out. Nose-wise. Melon all the way with a nice kind of soft, kind of generic greeny hop. Melon, your citrus and stuff like that. Typically you get from almost all these big, huge double IPAs, but melon just driving, just even from the bittering end, a little bit of kind of melon rindiness, a bit of melon fleshiness, nice sweetness to it, and that kind of nice generic. I say nice generic because it can be good sometimes. Greeniness to it, nice sweetness to it. Just gonna dive in, see what she's got. Cheers. Yeah, that carbonation is a killer. Pretty much follows to a T what you get in the nose. You get that soft melon vibes, a little bit of citrus, a bit of that green genericness. I'm trying to pinpoint that greeniness, but it's very generic. It's just a generic flat, like almost like it's definitely not like a too fresh kind of greenness. It's just a kind of, it's not tomato stocky, it's not weed pulling, it's not weed smoking, it's just a generic greeniness. That's pretty much it. The carbonation being added is a super bummer. It just leaves it a little bit flat. Tastes like it has a nice body to it, like nice soul to it. Nice body as in bits and pieces, not necessarily the beer itself. There's a nice core to it, but with that lack of carbonation, just leaves so much behind. You need that carbonation to be sprightly. You need it to be not even sprightly. You need to be at least there to deliver a flavor and the way beer should be presented. Especially these kind of beers, you need it to as a delivery system of flavor on your tongue and in your nose and the whole nine. It kind of just falls flat here. Sure, give me a 5-10-year-old barrel aged this, that, and the other thing. If the carbonation's dropped out, I could still get behind it because the way those flavors kind of come off, it doesn't need, although carbonation is always a positive, it doesn't need it that crucially to deliver what it needs to deliver. And here it just kind of falls. Just kind of falls a little bit flat. Kind of a bummer. Still not a bad beer. Just comes off thin and flat. But it has a nice kind of center to it. So I wish I would have had this with some nice proper carbonation. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better double IPAs I've had as of late. No, the carbonation prevents it from getting there. Value and availability, brewery only, but the prices were pretty modest there. Not too bad, so that didn't suck. And leave you with, if you like what we like this. I hesitate to even talk about it. If you want to know what flat beer is, but chances are your can might be markedly different than this one. It could be a singular can thing, it could be a batch thing, I don't know. So if you like what we like this, if you like trying breweries, let's just get generic with it. The beers I had there were quite nice. A lot of double IPAs, a lot of hazy stuff, a lot of regurgitation of the same things. But I did have some good stuff there. I had some sour stuff. I had some pilsners that were really fun. So if you just like breweries trying to do fun things in a fun town, definitely worth checking out. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers. Type that into Google. See me doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Same thing on the Google. See me doing the podcasting stuff. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a more carbonated double IPA than this one. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.